Well, it has been a shocking summer of extreme bushfires, floods and severe storms. To tell us what our legal rights are, I'm joined by Sam Macedone, lawyer and expert in everything that we want to talk about right now.
Good morning, Jane.
Good morning to you. We are obviously experiencing just an awful summer. We've got a week left, but it's been unprecedented, as we know. We're in the recovery process, Sam.
Yes,
so in terms of claiming and insurance and grants, who has the priority? Because there's a lot of homes that have been destroyed in New South Wales alone, around 2,500.
Look, it's like most things, you've got to queue up, so first in, best dressed. If you make a claim on your insurance policy, you've got to expect that it's got to be investigated and an assessor will be sent out to assess the damage and the claim that you've made. So these assessors, there's only a limited number of them, so the earlier you get in, the earlier you'll get a booking for an assessor. So I'd expect that because of the number of claims, you could be waiting for months before someone actually looks at your claim. So all I can say is get in as soon as you can and get the ball rolling.
And what if you don't have insurance?
Look, this is a disaster that unfortunately has come across quite a lot of people. If you don't have insurance, you don't have any compensation at all. You've lost your home, and we all know that to build a home can cost you anything up to $500,000, and who's got that sort of cash available?
It's just so devastating, isn't it?
It is. It makes you think you've really got to be aware of these things and not say, I'm not going to insure, it won't happen to me. You need insurance.
You need insurance. Yeah. And, I mean, we're seeing a lot of those demountables being brought into a lot of the towns as well. I mean, this is going to take, as you said, just to get your insurance a couple of months, but to actually build a home could potentially take years.
A year, 18 months at least, and then depending on the sort of home. And nowadays, if you build a home, it's got to have certain fire protections in it as well, so it's going to cost you more to build the same home, but it'll be safer.
Well, if we look at what's happened with the Opal Tower, for example, are we going to be seeing an increase in accountability from builders, from licensees and so forth?
Look, I can only hope so. At this stage, there's a lot of talk about what we should do and what we shouldn't do. There are a lot of balls up in the air about what we can do, but none of them have landed as far as I can see. Yes, they're saying that we want our builders and our developers to be more accountable, but we're virtually saying they've got to volunteer that accountability. Personally, I want to see some sort of regulation, some sort of legislation that makes them accountable. Don't ask them to be accountable, make them accountable. Get back to the clerk of works, someone who checks a building in the process. Otherwise, if you're a buyer nowadays, be very careful. Get the place inspected thoroughly before you spend your money.
Yeah, great advice. How is the Opal Tower going?
Look, most people, I think everyone's back in there now, but there's still other things happening to it. I don't see an end to that for years and years to come. And, you know, I don't know what happened early in the piece and what rights were given up, if any. But all I can say is to anyone else that have got a problem, don't give up your rights. Utilise them. Go as hard as you can.
Sam, we had those severe storms in the past week or so.
Shocking.
Just absolutely. I know they came with a punch, didn't they?
Sure did.
Ausgrid and other companies were basically leaving homes and businesses without power for days. What are the people's legal rights from a residential point of view, from a business point of view, when you think of things like the food in the fridge to bigger things?
Well, Ausgrid, I mean, can only do as much as it can. There was so much damage that it was impossible for them to get in and fix it all within a day. In some cases, it took more than a week, 10 days to get the power restored. But all you can do is trust that they will do whatever they can to get the power back. In the meantime, did you lose your food? Did you lose some income? It comes back to the old story. Did you have an insurance policy? What did your insurance policy cover? Don't just go out and pay $1,600 for an insurance policy. Find out what it covers. Does it cover lost food from your freezer? Does it cover a week off? Does it cover alternative accommodation? You've got to make, before you spend your money, make sure you know what you're spending it on.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because, you've got to look at the fine print, because you pay a lot of money for insurance.
And most people don't look.
If it's legitimate.
Yeah, most people don't look. They just pay the money thinking, oh, I'm insured. But if someone says insured for what? You really just don't know. And the other thing, of course, is you insure your house. What value do you put on it? Do you just pick something out of the air, or do you get a proper assessment? Because insurance companies will say, I know you've got $1 million house, but you've only insured it for $500,000. That's all we can give you.
Be interesting to see if the premiums go up in the near future.
Well, they might. Well, I think they should, because given the payout that's coming, they're going to have to do that.
Now, big story, comedian Celeste Barber and the New South Wales Rural Fire Service are going to the Supreme Court to free up the money that was over $50 million raised via Celeste's social media platform. Do you think they have a case?
Look, this is a really sad story, because most of us, when we look at our TV and we see a disaster developing, they ask for a contribution. We all put out, well, not all, but most people put their hands in their pocket and they'll make a donation. What they don't know is who they're donating to and what the rules of that organisation are. They've all got a constitution. The Rural Fire Service has a constitution. If you give them money, they can only spend it on equipment and training, not for people who've lost their home or need to get back into accommodation. So they've got $50-odd million in their account now because of Celeste's Facebook thing, but they can only spend it legitimately, legally, on trucks, equipment and education. So they're going to the Supreme Court to try and get some sort of resolution where they change the Constitution. Not easy, because it just, it's set in concrete in a lot of regards. So really, I think in future, people who ask for contributions, organisations should clearly stipulate to the public where the money goes, who they can distribute to, so you can then make up your mind where you want it to go.
More transparency, and as you mentioned, making it very clear, not just, after scrolling down a few pages and then just that fine print.
Look, there are some charities that say, if you donate some money to us, you tick the box where you want it to go. Now, that's brilliant as far as I'm concerned, because you are actually giving money to an organisation to do something that you think is worthwhile.
And you should have that right.
Absolutely, but we should all know about it before we're called upon to make a donation. Otherwise, we have this situation. $53-odd million tied up in a place, and Celeste never, ever, ever thought that money would not go to people who'd lost their homes and things like that.
Well, at least we're making it aware across the community, and hopefully things will change. Sam, Macedone, always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you, Janie.
Come in soon.
Thank you.
Missed you.
Thank you.
Thanks.